Hello everyone. It has been a while, did you freaking miss me? I know. I know you did. I know you did. Like the beat? I know you do. I know you do. Guys, I finally got my hands on my old journal. Look at it. The iridescent. Very nice. Look at it. And yes, I brought my new journal to compare. Don't they just compliment each other so well? They're cute. They're cute. But anyway, reading the journals again, y'all. I read through a little portion of these. Let's just say my writing skills got better. Let's just say my writing skills got better. 2022 was not my year in the writing department. Okay, hello guys. I just recorded myself doing a whole video of me reading 2 pages, but I realized how similar it was to the last video, so we're doing a different one. We're doing a different one. Ooh, something just fell out, but it's okay. So this was made on May 10th, 2024. So, I mean, last summer, you know, slightly recent, slightly not, but yes. Let's see. This one is called Good and Evil. I often ask myself, am I a... Okay, wait. Let's get into it. I often ask myself, am I a good person? Often when I think of doing something bad, or if I feel like I've treated someone poorly, but others will tell me I'm a good person for thinking about my actions. But then again, is there a such thing as a fully good or bad person? For example, others say that I'm a good person, but only after the fact that I have pointed out something bad that I've done, like but another view that stuck out to me was that bad people are people who think they're a good person, so much so that they don't see their bad actions as wrong. Like if they cheated on a person, they think of themselves so much as a good person that they don't see/understand that they might have hurt the other person because they think that they're fully a good person. That brings up another one of my points, which is, can a person be fully bad or fully good? To answer my own question, no, I do not believe so. That even goes for people in prison or sociopaths. We were all born innocent. We were all influenced in some way. We all have made good and bad decisions, and we all have the option to change. Writing that sentence just made me think of a video I just watched about a week ago about the upbringing of the actor Danny Trejo. Growing up, he couldn't really look up to his father, so he turned to his uncle. Later, he got involved with taking and selling drugs. Then he got arrested and sent to the most dangerous prisons. While there, he was taught to fight, and there was a point where he wasn't even fazed by seeing dead bodies. That was when he started to realize he was losing himself. When he got out, he went home, looked at his unfazed father, and almost did something that he would regret. Until his mother walked in with cookies. He said from then on he would change for the better. He started doing charity, giving back, and at one point his uncle came back to ask him to sell again, but he shut him down, and later he died. Working on his first film, he was picked because he looked the scariest. People avoided him, but he still kept his kind nature. And after the film, the main actress invited him over for Christmas, and he couldn't believe her kindness towards a lonely ex-convict stranger. Loved by millions, he continues to give back to his community. I do all of this to say this is one of the reasons why I want to be a therapist. Change didn't start with the guards. Change didn't start with his mom. Change started within himself. And as a therapist, I hope to give that hope, that advice, and that extra push in the right direction. And this journal entry was also inspired by a TikTok in specific by this person. And the question was, can I understand that I do bad things without making me bad? Can I understand goodness as my North Star and seek alignment within it and towards it as frequently as possible? That was a read, y'all. That was a read. I forgot I wrote this. Like, this is, wow. This is really, this was great. Like, can we clap? Can we clap? So my thoughts after reading this, I, this was before I took my my ethics class, which is basically philosophy, and this was before I even had readings about like morals and everything and about like the good and bad people. And it honestly makes me want to go back to my notes from reading about this and put my little 1-2 in. Because this, I think that in life, there's no black and white. It's completely gray. Like, especially with people. There's like, I know there's bad people out there, and that's, they could just be bad and stay bad, but calling them fully a bad person through and through, it just doesn't feel right to say. And there was even a reading with a philosopher who believed that prison was a way to teach like wrongdoers and like help them understand, I guess, that what they did was wrong and like teaches them their morals if they choose to learn, if they choose to sit and think about what they done and how it was morally wrong, I guess. But yeah, like this was very, but yeah, like I still think that sometimes, like, y'all don't understand, I don't even troll. Although it does seem fun, I don't even troll because I don't like deceiving people. I don't like, because I'm just like, how would I feel if they did that to me? How would I feel if they did that to me? You know? But I don't know. That doesn't make me a good person. Like, just because I acknowledge that I did something wrong or wrong, if I did do something wrong, like, that doesn't mean, oh, like, I learned everything. I'm the best person because instead of doing the bad thing and just moving on with life, I do the bad thing. I think about how I did the bad thing and I regret it. Like that doesn't really like that still doesn't like if I did a person wrong, that doesn't give the person peace of mind if I like know that it's bad. Like, I don't know, like some people know that they're doing bad things and they think about it and they keep doing it, you know? This is all like, I really want to know what you guys think about this because I need to start an ethics class, y'all. I need to start an ethics class. Okay, I do have my notebook from the college class, y'all. Yes, I'm in college. I know. I know you thought I was like 2 years old, but yeah, I'm grown. Like I'm in college. Talk to me absolutely nice. But yes, I brought my notebook, but I'm not really gonna go in a lot of detail because seriously, I could talk about it all day. Like this was my absolute favorite class. It was at 8 a.m. And if you've ever seen any advice about college at all, the first thing anyone will say is never take an 8 a.m. class. Never take an 8 a.m. class. I got up every day to attend that class because it is so good. And I hate reading. I hate reading. This class, you had to basically read 11 pages before every class. I was reading those pages. I was so interested in all these philosophers, all these philosophers' opinions about things. Y'all, if y'all want to hear about it, comment below. If y'all want to hear about it, comment below because this is a lot. Like I won't, I'm just gonna go over like an overview of what we kind of explored. So basically ethics or philosophy, it was just kind of finding out the good in people because I guess in kindergarten, that's when we were really taught to like I guess we were taught good and bad, or in school, oh, don't hit your partner, that's bad, don't do this, don't do that. But with certain philosophers, they kind of ask questions that we aren't really taught, and people who don't even know the answer, well, there's no right answer to these questions, but they ask people these questions who aren't philosophers, who don't like study deep into stuff like that. And there's usually a common answer, and they kind of want to explore what makes people answer these questions, like what in somebody's mind makes them say, this is the best thing to do in this scenario. It's hard to explain, like, it's really hard to explain. Like, you just gotta take a class. Harvard has free classes. I'm about to take one. But basically, like, for an example, one of our first, like, one of our first kind of lessons, oh, let me find it. One of our first lessons was the trolley problem. And it was basically a scenario where a train, you've probably heard this one, a train is unable to stop, and you have the choice of doing nothing and letting 5 people die, or pull a lever that kills one person. And there's no right or wrong answer, but utilitarians think that the ultimate good is to maximize happiness, basically. So whatever makes the most happy is the right thing to do, or is the good thing to do. So a utilitarian would say, oh, kill the one person and save the 5 because ultimately you're getting more out of it, I guess. And it's in the reader to kind of agree or disagree. And there's also like a million other philosophers who like counteract this view, and it's so interesting. Like, and there's so many scenarios where people kind of look at things that are considered good and they're like, let's really break this down. Like, if it's good, then why are more people doing it? Or, like, let's explain why this thing is wrong or why this thing isn't wrong. Like, it's a whole bunch of stuff. Like, we talked about abortion, we talked about duties to the poor, we talked about immigration, we talked about morality, virtues, vices, everything, y'all. Treatment towards animals, that was an interesting one. There's a whole bunch of stuff, like, and it really makes you think, like, if you had different opinions about this stuff and you see not only the philosophers' views on these things, but like views that different views from what they thought and how they address those different views, it's like, wow, this is crazy. Now it's making me think. Like most of these things I had an opinion on, but now it's like, wow, like I never thought about it like that. Like maybe I should rethink. But yeah, I say all this to say there's a lot of like I guess it doesn't apply to everything because I had to talk about it with my friend. And there are bad people through and through, but in the concept of the person themselves, there's no way that a person all throughout their life, from the day they were born, is fully bad or fully good. It's impossible. Like anything cannot be black and white. Like when it comes to immigration, when it comes to abortion, when it comes to veganism, even like when it comes to treatment of animals. Because there was a philosopher saying, we shall never mistreat any animal. I don't give a. Everybody should be vegan. And I'm like, wait, wait, whoa. And I was like, hmm, hmm, hmm. And even so, like, just because we eat meat, are we bad people? I don't know. And if vegans don't eat meat, does that make them good? Ooh, I choked on my spit. Does that make them good people? These are the questions that need to be asked. Honestly, let's get back to the journal. Like, let's get back to the journal. We are getting entirely off topic. I I just have to express how much I love philosophy, how I love ethics. When you This was a part of my curriculum, but like when you take a class that you just find interesting, you actually like it, it's like, wow, why did I even pick this major? Okay, I'm pretty sure my mic died and I'm so sad. But I was also just going into like having a major in something you want to do, but also taking classes that you're interested in. Like if you're a like business major, but you're really interested in like film, then I recommend taking a film class. Like going into your interests are very good. Like you get to explore if you really like it, and maybe you like it even more than business. So like maybe you don't want to change your major or you think financial is the way, but at least you know that if it doesn't work for you out, like if it doesn't work out for you in the future, then it's something you can try. That's what I recommended. I also went a little bit about the actor again and kind of like how, yeah, if I'm being honest, I don't really remember, but yeah, I was basically honing in on the fact that there's gray areas and everything. And I think I went over like the TikTok as well. I think I might insert the TikTok, but I think the reason I didn't because there was like music in the background, but I'm going to see if I can.
If you want to be a good person, one of the most important things you have to understand and quickly is that you are capable of great evil, that you are capable of great harm. Most people have this incredibly biased opinion of themselves because they understand where they're coming from or what's happened to them. That's kind of comes with the business of being yourself. So most people think, I am a good person because I believe I am a good person, and so this is true. And yes, on a fundamental level, we are all good. We are born good, and we are all good inside. However, there comes to be a crisis of identity, and this shows up in our accountability and our ability to connect with others, and ultimately our ability to understand ourselves when we believe we are good because we feel we are good, and so we decide that that is true. Like I said before, we end up unable to attribute qualities or behaviors that are bad to us. And there's a real cognitive dissonance that shows up particularly in relationships, particularly in justice work, and particularly in solidarity. When someone finds that they're being called to the carpet on their behavior, they're being called to the carpet on their belief systems, and they're not able to reconcile it with their inherent goodness, they tend to shoot the messenger. They tend to blame the situation that surfaced that behavior, that exposed that belief system. They tend to blame the person that has been harmed or hurt by what they've done, by what their actions have caused. They have this strange conflict inside of saying, I am good, and therefore I cannot have done something racist. I cannot have done something abusive. I cannot have done something hurtful because I am good. And the logic process behind that often leads to people believing that if the other person understood their actions more, they would not in fact find them harmful, that they could be absolved through exceptionalism if the other person took the time to understand it. This argument shows up a lot in I'm a good person, I understand that I'm imperfect, but in a very vague, sort of ungrounded way, right? It's the right, but let me explain. It's the, but I did this because of this, or I didn't mean it that way. There's an inability to associate themselves with the violent or harmful actions that they've committed against others. And in this inability to reconcile being good and doing evil, doing bad, we end up in cognitive dissonance, which deactivates our critical thinking and deactivates our ability to change, to take accountability, to apologize, to connect, and to repair. Each and every one of us will harm others. Every single person on this planet harbors cops and white supremacists and ableists in our head. This is the soup that we were raised in. This is the soup that we were socialized into. But the fact of the matter is, it's an incredibly larger act of violence, in my opinion, to be unwilling to identify with behavior that harms others because you're unwilling to risk an ounce of discomfort yourself. To be willingly ignorant to your own capacity for violence and evil perpetuates such a large, relational, deep and broad sense of harm, and this creates trauma in communities, in relationships, and even in your own self. It's not easy to do, to recognize that you're a good person, to recognize that you don't want to be bad, to recognize that you don't want to do harm, and also recognize that we are all born dangerous. We are born in a lot of ways dangerous out of self-protection, out of self-preservation. We adopt these belief systems, we adopt these behaviors, these tendencies, these patterns as a means to keep ourselves safe. It takes a particular level of consciousness, accountability, self-forgiveness, and self-respect, integrity to say, I no longer wish to engage unconsciously, carelessly in harm. That when I arrive to toxic patterns, behaviors, violent ways of being and thinking, that I will confront them, that I will approach them, that I will interrogate them and take them apart. To realize that we can be, and always are, whether we're aware of it or not, multiple things at once. To say, frankly, to ourselves in the mirror, you have all teeth and all claws and also all heart. These are all true things. I think it's one of the most frustrating things I encounter in my relationship, this either or thinking, this inability to reconcile, because it creates a system of apology and accountability that's incredibly superficial. It means that people in my life, and even me sometimes, can only apologize up until the point of my discomfort, up until the point where actual change and transformation would happen, up until the point where I have to look at myself as a good person and realize that I have done something bad. Because oftentimes that's where we stop. Right where the growth is right where we stop. That precipice where we actually begin to feel badly start to connect with where our behavior bleeds into the reality and experiences of other people and impacts them negatively, that's the part where we go, okay, well, let's not take it too far. That's the part where we begin to defend, to dismiss, to justify in our head, to go through the motions of actual connection and repair. And so when we engage that way with each other, we make the same mistakes over again because we haven't allowed ourselves to experience the discomfort of that plurality, of that duplicity within us, of that conflict. We haven't been able to look at the mirror and see ourselves as good without self-flagellating, without over-punishing, without self-loathing, and also see that we have harmed and that is unacceptable, and to work with ourselves and the people around us in the community and the belief systems to change that. And this cyclical pattern is like shame fuel, right? Because you get close enough to the discomfort and then you swipe it away. And then you get close enough to the discomfort and you swipe it away. You repeat the same behaviors, you repeat the same actions, and ultimately you end up dehumanizing yourself and others in this process. If you cannot come close to the fact that you're capable of harm, that you can do bad things as a good person, you cannot approach other people's pain, and fundamentally you cannot approach yours.
Basically, for the rest of the video, she was saying that it's important for us to recognize the harm that we've caused and not only think about our actions, but to change for the better in not just little ways, but big ways, like in ourselves, in our community, and in our actions also. And I just want to say, like, she was using a lot of big words for me, like cognitive dissonance. I did not know well, I knew like the word, but I did not know what that meant. Like, she has a very like expanded vocabulary, and I hope y'all understood that, because I feel like by the first watch I kind of didn't understand, but like by the second or third watch, yeah, I caught on. Often when I think of doing something bad, or if I feel like I've treated someone often when I, wait, oh, often when I think, start over, by doing that's not even what it says. Oh my God. I think I'm, often when okay, I I often ask myself, am I a good person? Often when I think of, or if I feel like I've been treating someone, or what is going